I'm going to do a collaboration that was put out by This Life of Ours. I'll have a link in the description box below where you can find her collaboration video on this, and also a playlist that you can watch for all the homeschoolers that are doing this collaboration as well. This collaboration is called The Best of the School Year, and she has some questions that you can answer, or you can make up your own. Some of her questions I'm not going to answer, they didn't really apply to me, so I'm just going to answer the ones that I can. So the first one was the best read aloud. Like, what was the best read aloud that we done this school year? The best read aloud that we done this school year actually came at the end of the school year, and it is still ongoing. It's something that we're still reading and we will continue with at the start of the new school year. It is called The Burgess Bird Book for Children, and it was written by Thornton Burgess. You can get it as a free download on Archive and Google Books, I believe. But this story, we're not done with it, but we're, over 100 pages into the story. But in this story, you learn about all kinds of birds. You learn about, their names, you learn about the names of birds, what they look like, sometimes how they build their nests, like where they build their nests, possibly what their eggs look like, what they eat, other birds that they're related to, their families and such. But how you learn about all these birds and their different characteristics is through a conversation that Peter Rabbit, which is a rabbit, in his conversations that he has with all these birds. But the most prominent bird is the Jenny Wren, the wren bird. But it's just a fascinating storybook. We're learning so much. It's very enjoyable, and it's just a story. But just reading the story, you learn a lot. I have a bird feeder outside here, and we've always had it. We always have birds there of many different kinds. But by reading this book, we're more aware of the different kinds of birds there, and I find us watching it even more. And whenever I go outside, I can't help but pick out the sounds and notice all the birds around. And sometimes I'll go out and just really look for a certain kind. And but me and my kids are really enjoying it. I also have a playlist on YouTube that goes along in order with this book as well. So that's been really nice for those birds that we can't see in person. We can watch this playlist and see really good videos of them. So that is our best read aloud for this school year that just ended. She also wanted to know a new resource that we liked. I actually have 3. One resource was for our vocabulary. It was Marie's Words. And we just really enjoyed the Marie's Words for our vocabulary. We started off the school year and I've done a video on this, but we started off the school year by just making a vocabulary notebook. We learn 3 words a week. And my youngest, her favorite vocabulary word that she's learned is adumbrate, and which means to kind of say something in a vague way. But she likes that word. So anytime I say, just go clean your room, she's like, "You're adumbrating me." She just finds any occasion she can use to say that word. It's when you're not real specific, adumbrate. So, but that's her favorite word. So we were using the Marie's Words and just, putting them, drawing little pictures to help us remember what they are. The word, the part of speech, definitions, synonyms, antonyms, and then the drawing to go with it. So we like that. We'll play different games with them. One of the games is like a bingo, just 5 in a row. But that's one of our favorite things. Another one of our new resources that we liked is, it's by Amy Pewitt, and it's Heroes and Heroines of the Past, American History. This is just part 1. This is for 1 semester. It's a lot. It's very, very similar to Knotgrass. And it's Charlotte Mason approved, I guess you could say. There are some books, like living books to read with it. There's crafts, there's music, there's cooking, there's art study, there's games from old time past, questions, writing, possible writing prompts, things like that. But the reason that this was one of our favorites, this is for grades 1 through 6. You can use it for 1 through 6 all together. But the reason it was one of our favorites is because I actually bought this for my 3rd grader, not for my 6th grader. I bought it for my 3rd grader. But the 2nd semester, I brought my 6th grader in with us. So all 3 of us were doing this together. But the reason I just really liked it was because we would sit on the couch and just read it and, narrate about it, give our points of view, do the questions, and maybe do the game or the cooking activity that went with it. We just really enjoyed it. It just felt like a good bonding time. So that was why we really enjoyed that. And then our last new resource for this year that we really liked was the Apologia series, Young Explorers, Exploring Creation with Astronomy. And this was bar science. We used this for the 1st semester. And I have a couple videos on this as well. But we learned all about the solar system in so much more detail than I was ever taught in public school. We done all kinds of crafts. We made these astronomy notebooks. We took a lap book and turned it into a notebook. So we just made these, and it's just a nice little keepsake. We had a lot of fun, done a lot of experiments. It was a good time. Another question, what is a successful change that you've done in your homeschool? Well, we had 2 different changes, and they were both successful. One of them was at the 1st of March. I started intentionally incorporating more Charlotte Mason style into our homeschool. And if you're interested in that, I have different videos, a few, on me doing that and how it's going. But it was a successful change for all of us. So by us intentionally incorporating more Charlotte Mason method into our homeschool, I feel like we are developing a deeper relationship, and that it is also making their education more meaningful to them by doing the Charlotte Mason. Whereas at other times it may just be another worksheet, just fill in the blank or multiple choice, and just to write down that you did it. But with the Charlotte Mason, it's more of a lifestyle, and it's just more involved and family friendly, and just, I don't know, the education is more meaningful. I think that's working out very nicely. Another successful change that we done was my youngest. She switched over to teaching textbooks sometime in December or January. She switched over, and she actually was the one that wanted to do it. We were doing Singapore with her. I like it. I think Singapore is still the greatest one, and I have a video on that too, a few. But for her style and her attitude and personality, I guess, she wanted teaching textbooks, and I researched it for probably a month or so. At that last time, I had researched it several times before, but during that last time, I researched it for a good month or so, and before finally going ahead and, saying yes, you can do it. And but she's been doing teaching textbooks, and it has just worked out great for her. She has more of she's kind of independent on some things when it comes to her education, and so by the teaching textbooks being more independent, she's really doing great with it, and it has been a very good change. Some movies or documentaries that I could recommend. These aren't necessarily from this school year, these are just ones in general. we get Netflix. We don't have satellite or cable or anything like that. We just do the Netflix. And on there is a documentary or a series called The Blue Planet. That is just so amazing. That is so, it's just fascinating. It's so educational. You learn about all aspects of the ocean life. It's from the top to the very, very bottom. It's just interesting. But really, any of those BBC science and nature documentaries are very fascinating. The only thing that you'd really have to worry about, if this was to concern you, would be, evolution, because they are on there a little bit. It really depends on which one you're watching. A series that my girls like is Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? I bought this, a couple years ago because I remember watching, I think it was called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And it was like a game show with real kids and answering questions. But Sandiego, she's a thief. She's the world's greatest thief. And she's always stealing famous things. Like in one episode, she even stole Stonehenge. Okay? In other episodes, she has stolen like the Mona Lisa, an Easter Island head. So things that she steals are famous landmarks or famous paintings or just, famous, well-known things all around the world. And so there's two detectives, this girl down here and her brother. They're detectives and they're always trying to catch her, but they never can. She always gets away. But during their chase, they're looking, Carmen always leaves them clues. And so you learn a little bit about these artifacts that Carmen is stealing, and you learn about the different locations, like where they're at, and how far apart they are from something else she steals. So there's geography and some, interesting facts in there too. But if it's something really old, they do go by like the millions of years thing too. But it's interesting. Another thing another movie set that my kids really like, and I could not find it, so I don't know if they took it to their friend's house or not, but is Liberty's Kids. It's a really good historical, pretty accurate too, historical cartoon DVD set, and it just goes over like the Boston Tea Party, the Revolution, different battles, the Declaration of Independence, Paul Revere. It's really good. It's definitely worth getting. But we really like that. My youngest, she really likes these Buck Denver series, What's in the Bible with Buck Denver. They're just a really good Christian cartoon / puppet type thing. They're funny. Phil Visser, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's the guy that created VeggieTales. He also created this. But he makes appearances in these shows, helping to further explain things. But, it talks about salvation, creation, from the beginning to the end. It goes from Genesis to Revelation. And, but anyway, these are really good. My youngest just really likes these. We have several more movies that they like, but I just picked out some of their favorites, I guess. My oldest, well, we all like the Mandy series of DVDs, but my oldest just really, really loves the Mandy series. The actual books were written by Lois Gladys Lippard, something like that. And they have made some movies based on the books, and my oldest just really, really likes the movies. Mandy is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Christian girl that is half Cherokee, and she goes on all kinds of adventures. It's set in the time period of, I think, the 1800s. Like the early 1900s. Like this box says 1899. and then I think it goes on up to the early 1900s. But it's a really good, family-friendly, wholesome series. We haven't found anything objective in it. It's a very safe and good adventure. But so my oldest, she really likes it, mainly because Mandy's half Cherokee, and my children have some Cherokee in them, so she really thinks that's neat. Oh, and she likes horses. I forgot. Mandy likes and rides horses, and my oldest loves horses too. So they have a few similarities, so that's why she likes them so much. Another question that was asked was about field trips. What are some field trips that we have been on? Well, this past school year was different. It was a really good school year, and it was a really quick, fast school year. But it was just different. We started school in August, and from August to mid-December, everything was just fine, smooth sailing, regular school year. And then the middle of December was when my husband got the promotion. And then, so, like 3 weeks in January, the house was kind of in a big disarray because we gutted the bathroom and was remodeling it. And then my husband left, because he had to start the job at the new place at the 1st of February, and that's 4 hours away. So he's been up there since February, while me and the kids have still been down here. So the house sells, or until we find a place up there. And now it has happened. Our house has sold. We found a place up there, and we close on both places in 3 weeks. So, well, by the time you see this video, we may have already closed. It'll be at the end of June when we close and are moved out of here and move into up there. So that's great. But so far in 2017, life has been kind of, I don't know, just a little hectic, with all the paperwork of selling this house and buying that house and the appraisals and inspections at both places and keeping up with it all and everything else. So the school year has been different. But we got it done. But because of that, we didn't actually go on any field trips per se. But they did have plenty of things, outside things, to keep them busy. I made a little list here. They had several sleepovers. They had friends here, and they went to their friend's house. They had several sleepovers. We had a Christmas play that they had to practice for, and they were in. There was a skating party. They've had several play dates, swimming at pools and at the river and creeks. They also went with their dad to Bring Your Child to Work Day. Our library had like an owl demonstration, an owl lecture or something, where they talked about owls and they brought in different owls. Same with turtles. The library also had a turtle thing. And the library had a mad science show. That was really fascinating. And also the library had a magic show. So we attended all those. We also took a trip to Six Flags, and they had a pretty good time with that. We got to see on another day, we got to see the Budweiser Clydesdale horses. And no, we don't drink, but they were horses. So, and it wasn't very organized. They were just there, and you just walked around and just looked at them, and that was it. We went on a camping trip, and we have taken several walks out in the woods. That's just what we like to do. We have a little wet weather creek back here, and we just like to walk around. They like to play in that, and I like to show them plants and different things like that. So that was our field trips. Another question was, what was our favorite topic or unit? I would have to say it would have been the astronomy. We just really enjoyed it. We learned a lot, and it was a lot of fun. There were several experiments and projects and activities to do after each lesson in this book. And one set of homeschool friends that we have, they were doing the same book at the same time as well. So whenever it was time to do the projects, we would get together, and we would go to their house, or they would come here, and we would just alternate it, and we would do the projects together. So some of the projects that we done, a solar system model, a pinhole viewing box, a model of Mercury. We got to burn paper using the sunlight and a magnifying glass. I bought a prism and we used it to separate the light waves from the sun. They made a commercial where they were trying to sell Earth. That was pretty interesting. They got to make a compass, homemade compass, a telescope. They made a model of Olympus Mons, and then they got to make it, erupt. A hurricane they made. We tried to make paper rockets using Alka-Seltzer tablets and those old 35mm film canisters. It did not work. The Alka-Seltzer would expand and just fizz up before we could even stand the rocket up. So it just didn't work. We made clouds in a jar. They got to make a constellation planetarium. And we also made homemade ice cream to go along with Pluto. And there were other activities and things, but those are the only ones that we've done. And let's see. Another question thing that she asked was, what was your kids' favorite books? Well, I told you that my oldest loves the Mandy books. So for her birthday, we bought her the entire series of Mandy books. But we bought them in these big volumes, and they're I think between 40 and 44 books, individual books. So we bought the entire set, but we just bought them in the volumes, and there are 11 of these volumes. So we bought her the whole set for her birthday, and she had read all 11 of these in just 2 months. But that's what she wanted for her birthday, was the Mandy set. That's all she wanted. And but she said that this is her favorite set for now. So that's what she likes. My youngest, she said that her favorite book that she read this year was Abby, Quest for Treasure by Pamela Walls. And this, I've not read this, but my oldest did. It's a Christian book. It's youth fiction, and but Abby learns that God can be trusted to provide. It just might not be in the way you expect. But my youngest, she read this book and she really, really enjoyed it. It was just an adventure. My oldest said it was pretty similar to the Mandy books. A Christian girl on an adventure, and there was a bad guy, a pirate. I think they were in Florida, but anyway, that was their favorite books. The last thing was, do you have any advice to give for homeschooling? I have a few things. This is just in general, no matter if you're a new homeschooler or you've been homeschooling for 25 years. Stop stressing and being so strict, okay? Just enjoy them, because they grow up way too fast. I mean, think about it. They do. They're just way too fast. So enjoy them. Don't push them, okay? Don't beat them over the head, force them to learn something. They will get it when they get it, okay? So don't push them. They learn all the time. So watch what you're saying, watch what you're doing, and watch what you're watching, because they are learning from you. So they learn all the time. Always hug them, and always tell them and show them that you love them. And let them see that they, as a person, are more important to you, and they take a priority over what the state has declared and told you to do for their homeschool educational requirements. So just let them see if they are important to you, and just enjoy every minute, because it goes by way too fast. So that is my best of the school year collaboration. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I feel like I was talking 90 miles an hour. so I hope you could understand me. And if you have any questions, just ask.